Now, our main agenda today is the star finalists, the people who have stood out from the crowd, who have been judged through the application and then judging process to be amongst the best uses of the Apteco platform. And some of you will know we have a competition each year for the best use of Apteco, and the finalists are written up in a little booklet. Now, if you were with us on Friday in Leicester at the National Space Centre, you may have picked up a physical copy of that book. Or booklet. If you weren't there in person, or if you didn't pick one up, you have a chance to download a digital copy of the booklet. Now, if you use the interactive event platform, go to the dashboard and then go to the tab called Award Finalists. And you'll find a little booklet, you can see it on screen, and you can download that to have a look through as you start learning about the award entries, the finalists' entries into the competition. Now, each of them is primarily competing for your recognition, for your vote, for the fact that you recognise that they have made a true difference to their organisation, that they've made the best use of the Apteco marketing software, and that they've innovated. And perhaps you've learned from what they've done, and you've thought already of things that you can do better in your organisation as a result of their work. So if they've done that, perhaps you will vote for them. And as well as winning your vote, as well as winning your recognition, the winners of our competition will get a Kindle Paperwhite signature edition on which they could perhaps read the Booker Prize winning novel, or Tim Peake's book, or Helen Sharman's book. So anyway, let's move on and think about who those finalists are. 4 great organisations supported by 4 great Apteco partners who were each invited to make a video of about 10 minutes, actually 10 or 12 minutes, it's thereabouts. And we drew our finalists out of the hat. Having judged all the applications, all the applicants, our judges chose the 4 standout cases, the 4 cases where people had used the Apteco software the best. And I actually wasn't part of the judging panel this year. I was away on a business trip. And so it's real interesting topic for me to see how these cases come together and how they present their work. Now, we drew them out of a hat in order to decide the sequence in which they're presented. Some people might want to go first, some people might want to go last, and it only seems fair to draw them out of a hat. But actually, just in a quirk of stats, they came out in alphabetical order anyway, so we could have just started there. But the statos amongst your colleagues will tell you, that's a chance. So our first, both alphabetically and out of the hat, is Avanti West Coast, supported by their partner Paragon DCX, talking about the Avanti Club, how they moved on from Nectar and began their own club with immediate awards and the benefits for their customers. So we'll hear first from Avanti. Second, we'll hear from the charity Centrepoint, supported by their partner Wood for Trees, and particularly their campaigning work, supporting young people who are homeless, and Childhood Day, and how they used the Apteco platform to support their campaigning activity, with their goal of ending youth homelessness over the next few years. So second presentation is from Centrepoint with Ending Youth Homelessness. Our third presentation is from Goodwood and their partner R-Cubed, and covers the challenge that they found with communicating about their many and various brands. They do many wonderful different activities at Goodwood, and they had a challenge of trying to communicate sensibly about many and diverse activities to a common and shared customer base. So you'll hear in presentation number 3 about how Goodwood tackled that and how they've raised engagement and stopped the decline that they were seeing with overmailing and miscommunication in their previous approach. And then finally, we'll hear from NSPCC and their partner Euler about how they undertake their campaigning activity with NSPCC and the protection of children. So 4 different finalist videos, 10 or 12 minutes each. I hope you can settle back on planet Earth with a cuppa and enjoy each of these as you see what your peers have been doing. So for the first presentation, I'm going to hand over to Matt Ford from Paragon DCX and Oliver Yaffe from Avanti West Coast. So over to you guys to make your presentation.
Hi and welcome to our presentation for the Apteco Best Use 2024 with Club Avanti, the Avanti West Coast. I'm Matt Ford, Analytics and Apteco Lead at Paragon DCX.
And I'm Oliver Yaffe, Loyalty Manager at Avanti West Coast. So, introducing Avanti West Coast, we are part of the West Coast Partnership, which is owned by First Trenitalia, and we operate long-distance services on the West Coast Main Line, connecting major UK cities like London to Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow and Edinburgh, amongst many other stops along the way. With a combined population of around 18 million on our route, Avanti West Coast aims to run a railway that generates national pride and prosperity and offering iconic services and excellent customer care. So the challenge we faced historically, the UK rail industry has offered its customers little reward. And in fact, sort of loyalty schemes such as Nectar and Air Miles just weren't rewarding customers enough. Then the pandemic came about and brought a complete collapse in train travel. And what followed was a big task in hand to win back customers and really get people traveling again. And it almost seemed like a pipe dream at the time. So Avanti West Coast have taken up a huge challenge and performed some really in-depth research with our customers to build a new loyalty program to get customers to be rewarded, boost bookings and increase travel frequency. So seeking a fresh perspective, we did turn to our travellers for direct input, and that brought about Club Avanti, which is the Avanti West Coast loyalty program. So Club Avanti is a brand new approach to rail loyalty. And Club Avanti's key goals were to progressively target and capture data on all Avanti West Coast customers and drive incremental journeys and revenue. But above that, we also hope to build a transactional customer relationship and make them stronger, but also build longer lasting emotional connections with our customers. So as mentioned, our main campaign objectives were to target and capture data on all Avanti West Coast customers, drive incremental journeys and revenue, and build stronger emotional connections with our customers. And by doing this, we would aim to protect against that modal shift to driving and changing behaviour patterns after the pandemic, provide a sustainable travel option, and most importantly of all, help to rekindle the UK's lost love for train travel. I'm now going to pass back over to Matt to run through the next slides.
Our approach to achieving the goals of Club Avanti involves bringing in the Avanti West Coast data into a single solution. So that customer transactional information right through to integrating with the ESP. As the data comes in, we understand the quality of that data, enhancing it where possible, running deduplication and processes like that. Once we've got the data in the perfect state, we implement the strategy and understand what is the best targeting necessary for each individual customer based on their needs. We're able to tailor the communications they receive through dynamic content and personalization, and we've even implemented a customer service portal allowing customer service members to access the data directly to answer any queries that Club Avanti members questions they may ask about their current state within the loyalty system. And naturally, all of that data being in FastStats and Orbit means that we can get right under the hood of the data, really understand the customers, as well as providing Orbit dashboards and reporting for the measurement of the success of the program. And here is the perfect journey, so that loyalty program in action. So we identified who were the best members, using the data we have in FastStats, identifying exactly who are the best people within the CRM database to send an invitation communication to. So who's going to get the most out of a scheme like this. And after that invitation has gone out, the ideal scenario is that they go on to sign up, receive their welcome communication, as well as the welcome offer that they get for signing up. And then their travel is monitored from that point onwards. And any qualifying journeys mean that they are then moved through the tier thresholds into progressively higher tiers. The rewards they get for reaching those tiers improve, they get additional upgrades, etc. And then at the end of the first year within the program, or with every anniversary, they are reminded of all the rewards that they've been given and presented everything that they're going to be able to achieve in the year to come. And naturally, data underpins all of this. So bringing in that customer information, Wi-Fi registrations and usage, preferences, the transactions they're making, the routes they're going on, the types of tickets they're buying, all going into the Apteco suite and the platform that's sitting there and empowering that loyalty engine. So understanding exactly where people are sitting within the program, what's eligible for moving people through those tiers. We're also tracking the offers people are getting, the redemptions of those offers that they're making, and having a full auditable loyalty history of every single little thing that each member is doing, so we can track and move people successfully through the program and measure how well it's working. We've also got all the response and communication history data all coming back into the Apteco system, and then all out to Orbit for reporting and measurement of the program. So FastStats is really sitting there as that data enabler for the program. From the beginnings of understanding where the thresholds need to be for people to move through the tiers, for the best return on investment and ideal cost to the business for the implementation of the program, measuring what that overall incremental revenue is on the CRM program as a whole, as well as within the program for Club Avanti, identifying who the best loyalty customers are, what makes them stand out, who has the highest propensity to go on to be in the highest tiers within that program, and using that to understand who are the best customers to potentially go for from an acquisition perspective as well, right through to understanding the day and the time, and even which stations are the best places to have people with boots on the ground talking to customers in stations about Club Avanti. And we've then got that data into Orbit, so producing these great, highly visual dashboards with all the key KPIs that the business needs to measure the success of Club Avanti. So they've got immediate access to those that are shared widely throughout the organisation, and even provide the key stakeholders information that they need to report to the DFT. And naturally, there's been some great results for the Club Avanti program, and I'll pass you back to Ollie now, who take you through some of those great results.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so I mean, we couldn't be happier with the program performance so far. Just take you through these results that we've seen here. For our digital sales penetration for loyalty customers, we account for 52.6% of all digital sales. So Club Avanti customers currently account for 52.6% of all of our digital sales through all of our digital channels, which is brilliant to see so far. We are 50.5% above our FY24 acquisition target, and this continues to grow as well. We're constantly seeing more and more members sign up each month, and getting rewarded for their loyalty with us. We've got a 73% active member retention rate. So across the last 12 months, 73% of members are retained, and they are transacting still. And then lastly, the two here, for Club Avanti members compared to non-Club Avanti members, we're seeing an additional 4.3 incremental journeys compared to those who are not members of Club Avanti. And we're also seeing an additional £230 of incremental revenue per customer when they're signed up to Club Avanti, compared to customers who aren't signed up to Club Avanti, and it's absolutely brilliant to see these stats so far, and we're really excited for what more we see, and the best is still to come. But we're so happy to be rewarding 440,000 Club Avanti members at the moment and growing. So yeah, those stats really speak for themselves, which is great to see. And lastly, just to summarise, Club Avanti was built listening to the customers. Within our customer research, the answer was that customers wanted instant, high-value rewards and access to cheaper fares. So, the main bulk of the program is that instant gratification. So, signing up and getting rewards straight away, generous rewards that we're giving out, cheaper fares, always on offers, so nothing. Customers are never bored, and added convenience for customers as well. We're really excited for the future of Club Avanti. As Matt said, these orbit reports and fast stats is used throughout the business, right up to the directors and the DFT as well. So it's been excellent. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt and Oliver. What a fantastic case study. I'm not sure Matt and Oliver know this, but after the finalists were judged by others, I was on an Avanti train to a business meeting to see one of our partners, and so I signed up for Club Avanti, and it works exactly as promised. I love those trains, particularly the fact that you've got wireless charging for your phone just on the table in front of you. You get on a train, you put your phone down, it starts to charge it. Brilliant. But yeah, I got my free hot drink voucher, I got my membership right there, all done on the train while mobile. So well done, Matt and Oliver. A great example, and I've lived it in practice. I'm one of those 440,000. I look forward to travelling on the train more often as a result. And I do love trains, so yeah, happy with that. So that's our first presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Our second presentation is from Centrepoint, supported by their partner Wood for Trees, which is part of the Salocin group. And the presentation is going to be made by Nick Cook from Wood for Trees, Jack Scott and Marcus Traller from Centrepoint. So I'll hand over to the guys now to present their use case in the best use of Apteco 2024. Over to you guys.
Hi, and thank you for listening to our presentation on Supporter Journey Enablement, our entry into the Best Use of Apteco Award 2024. I'm Jack Scott, Analysis and Insight Manager at Centrepoint, and I'm going to be joined by Marcus Traller, Senior Fundraising Data Analyst at Centrepoint, and Nick Cook, Solution Architect at Wood for Trees Salocin Group. First, just a word about Centrepoint. So we at Centrepoint consider ourselves to be the leading youth homelessness charity in the UK. We work to put an end to youth homelessness, both in the here and now, by working with and housing young people who are experiencing homelessness and supporting them with any physical and mental health issues and so on, and also into the future by campaigning and lobbying government to try and get us to a point where no young person ever has to face homelessness again. Right, so let's start with the before picture at Centrepoint and what our setup for supporter journeys looked like 2 years ago. Our individual giving programme had been steadily growing over the previous 10 years or so, and the programme had been getting more complex. By 2022, it became clear that our journey setup was not suitable for the scope of the programme anymore. At that time, we had a handful of journeys that ran in our bulk email platform. These automations were just for emails, and getting supporter data into them required weekly selections to be run in SQL, exported to Excel, and then handed over to a fundraiser to import into the email platform. This process was time-consuming, it required multiple staff members to run it, and it often fell down and got missed if somebody was away or got pulled into something urgent. There was also a risk in this process of consent not being applied correctly, and user errors could result in donors being contacted when it shouldn't be. This handful of journeys only covered about 20% of these four key audiences you can see here, and the cumbersome nature of the setup was a bit of a barrier to expanding this coverage. So at this point, we chose to adopt Apteco software as the solution to this problem and to a couple of other problems with our selection processes in general. So we engaged with Wood for Trees to get us set up with fast stats and people stage. Now I'll hand over to Nick.
Thank you, Jack. So once the team at Centrepoint had migrated their selection process over to fast stats, the next thing they wanted to tackle was the migration of the journey for their flagship product, Sponsor a Room. This was key to them, as this as a product alone brings in over 10,000 new supporters each year. So clearly the key vital first part to make the move over to people stage. They sought our advice to help them build this first journey for them, with the ambition to hand this over to them once complete, so that they could see how this is built, maintain that one, and then build future journeys, as you'll see later on in the presentation. The existing journey in the email service provider was email only. So we took this opportunity to make further amendments to this journey as we migrated it. This being including mailings into the second half of the journey, refreshing the content of some of the emails, and also making some of the selections more complicated. Now we had the right tool to achieve this job. One example of this, due to the ability to include calling and mailing files into the journeys, was Centrepoint wanted to add a welcome call in certain scenarios of this journey. So as we can see, we've got some general exclusions and some sponsor a room specific exclusions for this journey. The complex part came to the inclusions. So as we said before, we wanted to have a scenario where some people were going to get a welcome call. This group of people were new regular givers for the sponsor a room product, but they must have phone consent and came from a face-to-face recruit. Due to PeopleStage's powerful grouping capability, we were able to easily apply this segmentation. So as we can see, the very first thing we do is take out our new cash supporters, and these bypass the welcome call. And then we have a group section of inclusions for phone consent and face-to-face recruits, and then a segment for the regular givers. And these people then go on to get their welcome call. But then we finally, due to PeopleStage's dedupe, we're left with the remainder, which is our remaining regular givers who don't have either phone consent or weren't a face-to-face recruit. Now, obviously, the cash supporters and these remaining regular givers go to the same location, but we split these out into two different segments so that later on in the journey, we can utilize which segment they came in to make further decisions in that journey. I'll now pass over to Marcus to tell you some results about this journey and some other campaigns.
Thanks, Nick. So yeah, this was the first time we were able to view the results of any journey that we had. And I'm going to look specifically at the open rate and click rate for both of these. So compared to the old journey outside of PeopleStage and the new journey, the first email had a much higher open rate. This is just due to consistent timings and the emails being sent out exactly when we want them to every week. You can see later on in the journey, the open rate was a bit lower. This is due to the adjustment of some email copy. And you can see the same mixed results with the click rate. But yeah, this is just to highlight that this is the first time we've been able to analyze the actual results of any of these journeys and allows marketing teams to make any adjustments. So after this sponsor room journey was built by Wood for Trees, we built a standard regular giver journey completely in-house. So this is a lower value monthly donor product. As you can see, there's many facets to this journey. It's quite complex, takes several months, and has a mix of phone calls, mailings, and emails. And here's just an outline of it. And the results of this journey, again, we can compare the open rate and click rate. The open rate was higher throughout the entire journey. Again, this is just due to the timings of every email being sent out exactly when it's supposed to be. The click rate was, again, quite mixed, but just having the ability to analyze these journeys just allows marketing teams to make adjustments on the fly all the time to just completely improve these journeys wherever they see fit.
Thanks, Marcus. So once these two journeys had been built, we were fast approaching the Christmas period. Now, this Christmas period for any charity is one of the busiest times of the year and really important to them. So Centrepoint wanted to use this opportunity to put in Christmas campaigns into the PeopleStage journey and make use of that tool even further. They sought the help of Wood for Trees around these campaigns, especially around the virtual gift campaign. This was due to the fact that a supporter can choose from a wide range of virtual gifts to give, anything from a study kit to a health bundle. And these virtual gifts were stored as an attribute against the gift in Centrepoint CRM. But Centrepoint only wanted to have 4 versions of the email. So wanted to group these into accommodation, education, everyday living, and health, thus giving a more personalised thank you to supporters. But we also only wanted one version of the email. So you can see here, if we were to do this, we'd have various different copies of that email. And obviously, if we had to change some of the content of this, we'd have to change it in all of the different copies. So we use FastStats, a powerful expression and on-the-fly aggregation capability to achieve this. So we aggregated those gift attributes back up to the supporter level and then used an expression with a case statement to group the various different types of gifts into their associated categories. So accommodation, education, everyday living and health. This was then converted into a field for the virtual gift category, which was uploaded to the email service platform to be used within the content. This then meant that we just get one email within the platform with 4 different middle sections of the email that will get replaced depending on which virtual gift category got uploaded for that supporter. And the really important thing here is that means that each supporter is getting an email that is actually thanking them for their gift and actually is personalized onto the type of gift they bought that shows them kind of where their donation has gone towards, and hopefully leading to further supporter engagement of that supporter as they continue their life with Centrepoint. I'll now pass back to Jack and Marcus to tell you about some other journeys.
Thanks, Nick. So in addition to those 3 journeys we already discussed, we were able to make about 8 or 9 additional journeys in the last year completely in-house. And I'm just going to highlight a few of these. So the first one is an at-risk regular giver thank you. So this is regular givers that we've determined were at risk of cancellation. So we're able to actually call them on a monthly basis and thank them and try to dissuade them from canceling their gift. We also have a legacy hand raiser journey. So this is specifically people that have expressed interest in leaving a gift to Centrepoint in their will. So 20 people have actually pledged that were part of this journey. And that is a potential value of over £300,000 to Centrepoint in the future. We also have a lapsed regular giver reactivation journey. So this is people that have canceled the regular gift, and we actually call them on a monthly basis and try to persuade them to reactivate that gift. And that's already generated £30,000 in value per year to Centrepoint. We also have a post-upgrade stewardship journey. So these are people that have upgraded and increased their regular gift, and we just thank them very specifically for that action since it's so important to us. And finally, we have an in-memory donor thank you journey. So this is people that have left a gift to Centrepoint in memory of someone that's passed away. And it's just really important to have a very sensitive and custom thank you for these people since it's such an important type of giving to us. So this is all to say that without the use of Apteco and PeopleStage, we would not have been able to have these very customized and personable journeys, which have just added a lot of value to Centrepoint.
Thanks, Marcus. So let's remind ourselves of the picture of the coverage of these key audiences under our old setup 2 years ago. And now, after all the work we've just talked about, coverage has increased here to 40%. So getting on towards half of these vital supporters being kept regularly up to date with our work, keeping them in touch with the cause. And all of this is happening every day without manual intervention. And we can be confident that the right supporters are being selected and we're contacting them in the way that we think is best. Over the last year, we've sent twice as many emails to twice as many supporters as we had in the final year under our old system, and we're seeing all those benefits of the journeys that Marcus has just outlined. Just as importantly, having this software and the skills in-house to use it effectively means we've got the capacity to keep building journeys and working with our fundraising teams to expand this coverage further, and making improvements to our journeys to ensure that we're always speaking to our donors in a way that makes sense to them at the times that they want to hear from us. And that's important because obviously without these supporters, we can't tackle youth homelessness. That's all from us, and thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Marcus. What a great set of supporter journeys. Sponsor room, Christmas campaign, legacy. There's all sorts of journeys there. And you've heard how using the broad swathe of Apteco functionality, Centrepoint and Wood for Trees have established that great coverage. And what a great visualisation at the end there, showing the reach that the new campaigns have achieved, the new journeys have achieved. So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Marcus. Very nicely presented in your finalist use case. Let's move on to presentation number 3. This one is from Goodwood and will be presented by Natalie Fordham from Goodwood and Bethany Lawrence from R-Cubed. So, Natalie, over to you to present your use case.
Hello and welcome to Goodwood and R-Cube's submission for this award. We're so excited today to be talking to you about our estate email and the journey we've gone on from overload to relevance, transforming our email strategy with our fantastic data agency. I'm Natalie Fordham and I'm the CRM manager at Goodwood, very proudly so. And today I'm joined by Beth Lawrence from R-Cubed, who's our account director, and we're going to talk to you a bit about one of our favourite projects, and hopefully definitely Beth's favourite project. But of course, in order to do that, I need to tell you about Goodwood. So we are a historic 300-year sporting estate that started with the very first Duke of Richmond, and I believe now we're on our 12th. So it's grown from a very small hunting lodge to over 30 different businesses delivering world-class headline events such as Festival of Speed, Goodwood Revival, and maybe you've heard of it, horse racing's glorious Goodwood, the highlight of the flat racing season. At least we think so. We have a whole host of businesses, including annual memberships, such as our Motorsport GRC Road and Racing Club. We have our kennels, which is our kind of primary clubhouse, as well as annual memberships such as golf and health and wellbeing. So if you're really interested in, trying to get down to become a scratch golfer, we're your place to do it. But we also have a whole host of 365 businesses and experience. So you can come for afternoon tea and tour at the house. You can experience our fantastic hotel, which of course is dog friendly. And you can also come and experience our fantastic restaurants, which if you are in the Chichester area, please do come to the Farmer Butcher Chef. It's my absolute favourite thing in this world. But that does mean that as marketers and as, data people, we have a significant challenge of how do we communicate all of these businesses to our customers in the right way. And I'm a little bit ashamed to say that we had a significant problem with that. So previously, we were very much emailing all of our customers all of the time about every single business. So we were definitely committing the ultimate sin in marketing of over-mailing and annoying our customers, which is leading to high unsubscribes and, of course, a real decline in engagement year on year, so decreased clicks and also click-through rate. So we've got Mrs. Martin here as the example, and we can see that, she's been to the hotel quite a few times. She's a real advocate of our farm shop, but she's not a motorsport fan. But previously, she would have had every single one of those messages, including things like, and here's our experiences. Here's our brand new dog event, Goodwood, which please do come to. It's fantastic. It's my favourite thing, other than Farmer Butcher Chef, but obviously can't do that. And we also have the fantastic all of the other businesses that we would have been talking to. So we had a real challenge that we took to R-Cubed, and we wanted to serve the right message to the right customer at the right time. And how do we do that in a personalised way? So Beth is now going to talk to you through the solution that they proposed and we enacted.
Thanks, Natalie. So for the solution, we decided to introduce the estate email, which is essentially moving to sending just one email per week to each individual. But every element of this email is completely personalised based on each individual's interests across the 30 different business areas. The objectives were clear. We wanted to increase click rate, drive up the average clicks per individual, and reduce unsubscribes. Prior to the introduction of the estate email, we would see different individuals who were all engaged with email, but with very different interests, receiving all the same emails from all the different business areas in the week. For example, Mrs. Martin has only shown an interest in Farm Shop and the hotel, whilst Mr. Smith has shown an interest in Festival of Speed and Motor Circuit. But they were both receiving all 4 Solus emails, whether of interest or not. After the introduction of the estate email, we now have one email sent to each individual each week, but the content and blocks are all driven by their interests. So now you see Mrs. Martin just receives one email with a content block about hotel and farm, whereas Mr. Smith receives a content block with Festival of Speed and Motor Circuit, all in line with their interests. This approach allows for a cross-sell opportunity as well, without harming overall engagement or deliverability for the email. For example, for Mr. Smith, we've added a farm message, which had to go out to the whole base. But by adding into the one email with other relevant content, this doesn't harm the click-through rate or increase unsubscribes, and it doesn't add another email into the already very busy calendar. This means almost every section of the new email is dynamic and personalised, and where we have on average 8 different interests featured a week, The result is far less overmailing and a much more engaging, relevant weekly touchpoint. So as you can see, the solution to deliver the estate email was far from simple. So we needed tools that could handle complex campaigns and personalization based on a huge amount of data and feeds. So we turned to Apteco, Fast Stats, and PeopleStage to deliver this. Before we could get into the campaign build, though, we needed to first understand how individuals are interacting with the different business areas. To do this, we ran analysis within Fast Stats to define those rules for the various interest groups. As each business area is very different, they require different actions to be classed within that group. For example, the actions to be assigned a farm shop interest are very different to the actions you'd take to be assigned a hotel interest. Let's take hotel as the example. So there are various actions that you can take to enter this interest: bookings, inquiries, clicks, or Wi-Fi usage, amongst many others. But for each of these actions, they needed their own bespoke recency and frequency rules applied to be retained within that interest. For example, how long should a click for an interest alone be kept versus a purchase? And how many times do they need to click? These rules needed to be agreed across all interests and future-proof to cover customer interest changes over time too. Once the rules were agreed for each of the interests across the business areas, we could then look to build the interest variables based on the complex criteria. We did this so that we have consistency and ease of use for future selections, future reporting and analysis, but most importantly, to build out the estate email. In order to execute the estate email, we heavily relied on PeopleStage to create the automated campaign file. This file powers the email build, and where there are over 1,000 interest combinations an individual could have, and every email delivered could be different, we needed PeopleStage to deliver this. You can see an example excerpt of this file in the blue, with Mrs. Martin and Mr. Smith's records highlighted and their relevant interests flagged, but also all of the other individuals on the base with all of their potential interest combinations flagged, ready for contact. This file is then pushed to the email service provider to drive the dynamics within each block of the email and for broadcast, delivering a fully personalized email for each individual where every email could be different. PeopleStage also outputs this file to the SFTP so we can track subsequent clicks and transactions off the back of each block any individual has engaged with that week, and go on to report on them. Natalie will now take you through the results.
Thank you so much, Beth. So, of course, we're really, really pleased to present you with the results. And by sending that one super targeted, personalised email, we saw over the first 6 months that actually we sent to less people, which is great, but also drove more clicks. So 70,000 less individuals sent to, but driving 84,000 more clicks. And of course, a rise in click-through rate by 2%, which is absolutely fantastic. But more than that, what we did was keep more people on the base. So a reduction in unsubscribe rate by 1.5%, which with a base of our size and the amount of businesses is incredibly significant. So engagement across the base is absolutely fantastic. It rose by 3% and average interest grew from 3.1 to 3.6. So we can continue to talk to you about all of our amazing businesses, but now we're doing it in the right way. Of course, there were some other amazing benefits, which I think the company are incredibly proud of. So we saw a driving of £4.5 million in revenue, and also we saved 16 hours of manpower per month on email builds. So we can use our team now much more strategically and much more effectively. And also we can show that we can also make money off of this strategy, which is fantastic. So we showed that, relevance really, really does drive engagement. So how do we use this for the future? Well, I'm very happy to announce that we are looking to build on the success of the estate email and all of the wonderful work that we've been able to do using the Apteco suite and, of course, R-Cube's data strategy. So what we're looking to do now in future is really put interest at the heart of all of our channels and optimize them by interest. But also, in order to do that, we need to look at the interests as a whole. No two interests are the same. And actually, my one click over here on fantastic dog content doesn't necessarily make me a Goodwood buyer, but my annual membership to the health club does make me a fantastic candidate for health and wellbeing. And that's what I want to be hearing about more, because I'm consistently keeping that membership going. So now it's about how do we rank these interests, and also how do they work across the different channels. For example, I might love my motorsport newsletter on a Friday, engage with it every week, but when I am getting other content, I'm actually not engaging with those businesses as much, but I really love their social content. And so I want my interest to be matched there and to be shown. So having this foundation in place, achieving the objectives, and also the fantastic results that we shared with you, we're so looking forward to 2025 and taking Apteco and the estate email and working it even harder across the different channels. So thank you so much today, guys, for listening to us and hearing our story. And we'd love to hear from you, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Beth. And yes, we're certainly enjoying the conference. I hope you are too. And I have a challenge for Natalie and Beth, because I'm a motorsports fan. I fly little airplanes as a hobby, and I've got a dog. And actually, I've been gifted tickets for the Goodwood revival for next year. And so I'm going to be on site on the estate. And so I'm going to sign up. I'm going to show my interests, and I'm going to enjoy my estate email. And what a great example of thinking more broadly about how you deploy the software. So thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Beth, for your presentation. I'm sure everyone enjoyed that, as I did. And we move now to presentation number 4. Gary Keneally from Euler, Charlotte Thompson from NSPCC and Ollie Brown from NSPCC are going to present the use case and the finalist entry from NSPCC, supported by their partner Euler. So over to you, Gary.
Hi, my name is Gary, and I'm a Business Insight Solutions consultant at Euler. Presenting with me today, I have Charlotte, who is the Supporter Experience Manager at the NSPCC, and Ollie, who is the Senior Supporter Journeys Officer at the NSPCC. We will be talking you through the development of the Childhood Day volunteer journey that we've been working on to improve the supporter experience for our volunteers. NSPCC volunteers give their time and effort, which is priceless to the charity, in order to help the NSPCC keep children safe.
A little bit about the NSPCC. 1 in 5 children in the UK has suffered abuse. Abuse can devastate a child's life and rob them of their childhood, leading to complications in later life. The NSPCC is here to prevent that. We offer free and confidential services like Childline, where children can speak to a trained counsellor about anything that's on their mind. On average, a child contacts Childline every 45 seconds. We also visit schools to deliver our Speak Out, Stay Safe programme to children, so they can understand what abuse is and what to do if they're scared or worried. At the NSPCC, we believe that every childhood is worth fighting for. Our supporters fundraising is critical to ensure that we can protect children and prevent abuse. Childhood Day is the NSPCC's flagship fundraising event, taking place every year in June.
This is a day for us. But mums, dads, teachers, neighbours, every kid needs you to play your part too. The NSPCC say 500,000 children a year get hurt by grown-ups. We need people to protect us. So this Childhood Day, we'll get together, move a mile. Grown-ups will raise money. And we'll all do something to keep children safe. Search Childhood Day now.
Volunteering is one of the activities that supporters can get involved in, signing up to collect donations from the public at various locations across the UK in the weeks leading up to Childhood Day. The supporter journey needed to ensure that as many volunteers as possible attend their shift to raise money. With around 100 collections happening across the UK, across different dates leading up to Childhood Day, and various shifts per collection, the supporter journey needed to deliver specific instructions to volunteers which are not stored on our database. Volunteers can sign up at any point from when registration opens until Childhood Day itself. So the journey needs to be adaptable to differing lead times while delivering key information for collections. Volunteers can also sign up to multiple shifts and collections, and can cancel or reschedule their shift at any time. So the journey needs to be able to manage multiple shift registrations and cancellations. Due to the resource needed to organise collections, time spent manipulating data and sending emails should be minimised. Therefore, the end-to-end process needed to be as automated as possible. The journey needed to be tailored to give the volunteers an excellent experience. This included multiple layers of personalisation and collection-specific details needed to be included in the emails to ensure volunteers knew what to do when they arrived for their shift, which varies from collection to collection. Finally, to demonstrate local impact and relevancy, some content needed to be regionalised. For the first time in 2024, we also ran a lead generation campaign on Meta, and respondents to this campaign needed to be entered into a short conversion journey to sign up to a Childhood Day collection. Any conversions from this journey should be fed into the main journey. Childhood Day was established in 2018, and for the first 4 years, the journey was managed manually with emails sent through Outlook using a mail merge. There was minimal personalisation, and the emails weren't very visually appealing. The journey required quite a lot of resource to maintain. In 2022, we adopted a hybrid model using Adestra for basic automation and sent manual emails via Outlook for collection-specific information. This journey required less resource to manage than in previous years and allowed us to create more visually appealing emails and be more personalised, offering the volunteers a tailored experience. However, Adestra automation is not very sophisticated, so we were unable to be as time sensitive as we'd liked, and we were also unable to send collection-specific details as part of the journey. In 2023, we moved to a full automation in PeopleStage and FastStats, using a lookup table to manage personalisation with the data not stored in the database. The journey required even less resource to manage as it involved no manual emails, and we were able to include collection-specific information in emails. Sophisticated automation also allowed the emails to be sent relative to the volunteer's collection date. However, due to the selection being built at supporter level, some volunteers were sent the wrong collection information, which required a manual follow-up email. The journey was also unable to handle multiple collections and cancellations effectively. Therefore, some volunteers did not have a great experience.
So to enhance volunteer experience, what did we do? Well, first of all, we built all journeys at a transactional volunteer level. This meant that volunteers were receiving correct collection details at the time most relevant to their collection. It also meant that the journey could seamlessly handle volunteers who signed up to multiple collections. We also merged the main journey with the cancellations journey, ensuring volunteers receive information relevant to each collection shift and are sent on the correct path if they were to cancel. We were able to enhance the collection part of the journey to include specific emails to acknowledge cancellation and cross-sell to other activities if they have no other active collections. A separate lead generation journey was also created, which captured an expression of interest through Meta. Supporters were given the opportunity to sign up as a Childhood Day volunteer. If supporters signed up, they exited the lead generation journey and entered the main Childhood Day journey. A key part of the journey was timing and flexibility, ensuring that volunteers were receiving collection details at the time most relevant to their collection, but also not over-communicating to volunteers who had signed up to multiple collections. Numerous expressions were applied across the journey, some of which utilised the on-the-fly aggregations. This was to determine if a volunteer's collection was their first collection for those who had signed up to multiple, meaning that for 2 of the emails in the journey, volunteers would only receive them once, regardless of how many collections they had signed up to. A combination of all of these expressions drive most audience selections. As well as harnessing the effectiveness of expressions to manage email timings, PeopleStage's flexible audience options also had its part to play. You can see here that the pool journey in the audience combined with the audience selections enforce a mandatory 7-day wait for volunteers in the previous pool. This audience is for the second cancellation email. The selections in this audience check to see if a volunteer who has cancelled has another active collection that hasn't been cancelled. It is important that volunteers don't receive the second cancellation email, which is a cross-sell, when they have other collections that they have signed up to that are still active. The Childhood Day Journey emails utilised a large amount of personalisation, which enabled the NSPCC to deliver all of the shift details relevant to the collection that the volunteer had signed up to. It also enabled the NSPCC to engage with volunteers on a level that made them feel more appreciated and part of the team. Here is an example of the cancellation emails. All volunteers who cancel a collection shift receive the first email. If the volunteer has another active collection in the journey, they do not receive the second email, using the rules from the selection a few slides ago. In other words, the journey takes into consideration the actions of the volunteer.
Use of Apteco's technology and data-driven strategies has streamlined processes and improved the volunteer experience. Increased email opt-in rates, high volunteer satisfaction, and successful conversions to other NSPCC programs demonstrate the campaign's broader impact. We also saw an exceptionally low unsubscribe rate of just 0.1% for the 2024 main journey. We measure our email success by impact score, which is a calculation based on open rate, click-through rate, and unsubscribe rate, which allows us to directly compare email performance at a holistic level. As you can see from the key, an impact score of 2.5 to 3.9 is considered good, and a score of above 4 is exceptional. All 3 journeys performed well, with the main journey performing exceptionally well at 4.73, building on successes from the previous year. There were also 17% more collection sites in 2024 than 2023, and we maintained a similar dropout rate despite much worse weather conditions in 2024, which can significantly affect volunteer attendance. As a result of developing the journey with all the above considerations in mind, the feedback we saw was overwhelmingly positive. The survey responses showed high volunteer satisfaction across all volunteer types. Over half of our volunteers were interested in leading their own collection next year, and 47% were interested in organising the collection themselves. Overall, the vast majority of volunteers found the experience enjoyable, despite the weather conditions, and we even saw a fantastic 100% satisfaction rate for corporate volunteers. Most volunteers said that they would collect again next year, which bodes well for the 2025 collection. Another success of the Childhood Day campaign has been how existing and new supporters engage with the charity in other ways. This graph demonstrates the activity of 2024 Childhood Day volunteers and what else they are doing to support the NSPCC. This ranges from financial support with regular gifts to supporting our campaigning activity, which puts pressure on the government to do more to transform children's lives. We see here a combination of existing supporters who have expanded the ways in which they support us and newly acquired Childhood Day volunteers who have gone on to take part in other activities. We learnt many lessons from the 2024 campaign, and we intend to use these to lay a strong foundation for future growth in 2025. We aim to include further PeopleStage automation to enhance volunteer engagement and expand our fundraising efforts. We aim to find a more automatic approach to updating the lookup table, as this was the most time-consuming aspect of maintaining the journey. In 2024, SMS was used within the campaign, but it was managed manually. Next year, we aim to integrate this channel into the journey by using an API with our SMS provider. To enhance reach of important information, we'll also be including resends of key emails to non-openers so that everyone receives the information they need. Finally, we intend to use Orbit to enable stakeholders who don't use FastStats or PeopleStage the chance to analyse volunteers who are in the journey in real time, and to find out more about the volunteer base by way of Orbit dashboards.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of the NSPCC, and Childhood Day would not be possible without them. We aim to continue raising awareness by engaging supporters like Susie and protecting children like Leo across the UK through Childhood Day. We have ambitious plans to scale up the campaign in the coming years, and the automated PeopleStage journey plays a critical role in supporting this growth. Here are a few words from Patrick Weaver, our Head of Fundraising and Communities, about the impact of Apteco software on the Childhood Day campaign.
Childhood Day plays a strategic role in the resurgence of the NSPCC volunteer fundraising network. The introduction of an automated supporter journey has transformed how we engage with new fundraising volunteers. The personalised journey is one we can confidently scale year on year, which strengthens the campaign foundations and deepens our supporter engagement via a seamless and positive supporter experience.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you
for
voting.
Thank you, Gary, Charlotte and Ollie. Thank you very much for your presentation. You've got to love a transactional campaign and the use of socials as well as email in a campaign for Childhood Day. So a great example of using the Apteco technology. So that concludes our 4 presentations, and we're going to turn in a moment to your opportunity to cast your vote for the best use of Apteco 2024.